Marietta College's Center for Appalachian Innovation launched its inaugural symposium this week, convening leaders to chart the future of the region's timber industry. Our Peyton Brooker was at the symposium in Marietta.
The Center for Appalachian Innovation at Marietta College held its inaugural symposium at the McDonough Center, focusing on the future of the timber industry in the region. Michelle Jeitler, the academic program director for the center, explains why the topic is so important.
Forestry is impactful in Appalachia. We do a lot of exports of hardwood from Appalachia in Ohio, and so we wanted to bring those community members together to talk about their struggles and their celebrations.
Keynote speaker Jenna Reese highlighted current metrics and potential future solutions for the industry. One key statistic highlighted in her speech was from the Ohio State University's College of Food and Agriculture, revealing that $14.3 billion are valued in raw materials from forest products in the state of Ohio. Industry leaders shared both their hopes and concerns for the future.
Certainly talk about better times in the industry. We can mention some of our concerns. We can also mention we have hope to see things come back better for the industry and the people in it.
I think employment, if you look at the numbers, is probably down as far as the overall number of individuals. But what I would say is that the ability to find, attract, and retain labor is still a tremendous challenge for not just anyone in this industry, but I think anybody in manufacturing.
Jeitler emphasizes the symposium's networking goal.
We want to bring people together to be able to have open conversations and build bridges from the center out to all of those different organizations that work in Appalachia to help them.
Industry leader Jack Hazley explains that the timber industry continues to deliver a positive message.
I think if the industry puts out positive messages to what we're all about and creating a product from the only renewable natural resource, there's a lot of excitement that goes with that to be a part of that.
This is Peyton Brooker in Marietta, WTAP News. This is home.